From the core of Ghana's rich heartland, where culture thrives and traditions endure, emerges a storyteller whose words have woven the fabric of countless lives. Entertaining and inspiring a nation, a visionary, a playwright, an author, and motivational speaker whose name resonates with wisdom, creativity, and an indomitable spirit. This is the story of Uncle Ebo Whyte.
Those who know me, who knew me from my childhood, are shocked to see me now. Shocked to even hear me now. Because this is not a boy they knew. Oh, no, Jimmy Bia. No, Jimmy Bia. No, God has been good to me that this is not a boy they thought I would be. And I thank God that a switch seemed to have gone off in my heart and in my mind at one point. That turned my life around, and I'm so grateful. I think it began when I took reading seriously, and that helped me to imbibe a lot of insights about life, and some of the things I told you, simplifying your life, that kind of thing, putting them into practice, I think they have helped me a lot.
Born James Ebo Whyte on July 20th, 1954, at South Suntreso, a suburb of the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, to a fishmonger mother, Beatrice Akins, and father, A.B. Whyte of the Judicial Service, Uncle Ebo Whyte, as he is affectionately called, has embarked on a journey that transcends the ordinary. His early education took place at South Suntreso SDA and South Suntreso LA Middle School. He continued his secondary education at Osu Presby. Following his O-level studies, he worked for 6 years before pursuing A-level. Subsequently, he enrolled at the University of Ghana, Legon, to study statistics while concurrently sitting for exams at the Institute of Chartered Accounting.
I would say I've known Uncle Ebo from around the 70s. We all galvanized around Kaneshie Town Fellowship. I had finished sixth form, was at home, and some friends pulled me to go to Kaneshie Fellowship, where Christians from all denominations would meet in fellowship, particularly on Sunday afternoons. But as big as that group was, they also had some small interest groups, and one was the drama group located there, called the Gospel Youth Players. And the members still exist today, led by one Joe Kesson. So I joined, and Ebo was part of that group and some other people. And we had some fantastic times having drama. And when we look back now, we brag that we were able to fill the Arts Council at that time, which was a very big achievement.
We were already having a drama troupe in the Youth for Christ, J Theatre, But he wasn't too happy with the quality of the acting. He wasn't happy at all. They were all amateurs, you see. So he always thought about having professionals, doing the acting, With the Youth for Christ background, our themes were more evangelical. And I was wondering how just a professional actor can come and propagate the word of God. It will look artificial, but he believed in it. It is that God uses anybody. God could use anybody, to do his work. And that's what he's doing, So in Roverman, he doesn't mind the quality of person who comes in. He always has the faith that we can use what we do there to change the person.
From humble beginnings, he rose to become the founder of Roverman Productions, a beacon of hope and enlightenment in the world of Ghanaian theatre. Established in 2008 with a mission to rejuvenate and elevate the theatre scene in Ghana, Roverman Productions has become a significant cultural force, known for its high-quality theatrical performances and impactful storytelling. The company typically releases 4 major productions each year, with performances staged at the National Theatre in Accra, among others. It has produced over 55 plays over the years. Through his compelling plays, Ebo Whyte has touched the lives of many, addressing themes that echo the human experience. Some of his plays include What Dad Left Behind, Devil's Wife, Different Shades of Women, He Loves Me Not, Life is Some Way, The Day Dad Came, Sins of the Fathers, Trials of the Ghanaian, Don't Mess with a Woman, Everyone Has a Secret, Apartment N1, What's My Name, Men Run, Women Cry, Last Flight, Dubai or No Sex, For Girls, The Spell, Just the Tip, and Forbidden. But actually, getting into theater was by accident. In 1974, he stumbled into theater during his secondary school days when a School of Performing Arts student was sent to his school to produce a play. Fascinated by the rehearsals he observed from afar, Ebo Whyte had secretly memorized the entire play and even the director's instructions to the main actor. When the lead actor didn't show up one day, Ebo Whyte, upon identification and a call-up from the director, volunteered to read his part, a task he did flawlessly. Impressed, the director gave him the role, marking Uncle Ebo's unexpected entry into theater, an experience he describes as accidental yet transformative. That transformation, however, was never without hiccups. His first 3 productions were disasters. His debut play, The Devil's Wife, was financed with a loan from his boss, a debt he spent 2 years repaying. The play was staged at the Art Center in a 300-seater venue. Sadly, he made a huge loss. For his second play, Mr. President, Your Move, Ebo Whyte sold his brand new Octavia car to fund it, a sacrifice he never recovered. The play was staged at the Christ the King Parish Hall, which was a 600-seater auditorium. For his third attempt, Uncle Ebo Whyte produced Wedding Behind Closed Doors at the Banquet Hall, an 800-seater venue, with a financial investment of 11,200 Ghana cedis. Despite his efforts, he only made 11,500 cedis, resulting in a modest net income of 300 cedis. This disappointing outcome made him question whether his talent was truly his calling. In the year 2000, Uncle Ebo Whyte made a bold decision to rely solely on his creative abilities rather than his academic qualifications. In a symbolic act of commitment, he burned all his academic certificates and embarked on a journey to produce successful plays. He then founded Roverman Productions and produced Unhappy Wives, Confused Husbands with a 5,000 Ghana cedi loan from a friend. He produced the play, which premiered on 6th September 2008 at the National Theatre of Ghana, a 1,500-seater venue. The show was a resounding success, selling out the entire venue.
Each of those failures took me 2 years to recover, 2 years to pick myself up. You understand? Because you believe so strongly in something, you are convinced this is going to work, and then it doesn't work. You go away and you have a lot of self-doubt. Am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right space? Is this for me? Why do I think it is even for me? And things like that. So each of them took me 2 years to recover. But the thing is that there was something inside so strong that I couldn't move away from. And so that's why I kept coming back to this over and over.
Uncle Ebo Whyte's path to success, despite 3 initial setbacks, was significantly supported by Mr. Charles Reku, who prefers to be known as Ebo Whyte's brother. Their friendship began when Mr. Reku heard Ebo Whyte on Joy FM presenting Food for Thought, a radio broadcast aimed at transforming lives with nuggets of wisdom. Recognizing the value, Mr. Reku encouraged Ebo Whyte to publish his broadcasts, which led to the creation of Rover Report, a monthly magazine.
Rover Report. na yɛkɔ kakra fine bɛsɛ mfie kakra nti wɔ ha mka so na Uncle Ebo we play akyiro na wonyɛ play also saa play deɛ nka yɛbɛtumi ayɛ na ɛho aka deɛ I'm so Uncle Joy from Uncle National Theatre now Uncle Busa because National Theatre no Uncle Busa Nebo I'm so okay Nebo India and there my Emma Scotty me check at the man so for good and yes on the Busa said be man is kind for your product me na na ba me some PB ahwe and na Intina Manbasa and you know your church also play now on Lowdown the play now and then your unhappy wife confused husband and then the start of Uncle Ebo player say your brother on the 57th play now.
At the time, Mr. Reku was the manager of a printing press, and his residence, which also served as his office, became the headquarters for Uncle Ebo Whyte and his team, leading to the formation of Roverman Productions. Behind every successful man, they say, is a woman. This saying, which reflects the idea that supportive relationships, particularly with partners, play a significant role in personal success, finds embodiment in Ebo Whyte and his wife, Florence Sandra Whyte, who have been a couple since 1983. Ebo Whyte met Florence through theater, introduced by her cousin who was part of a drama troupe he led. Florence is not only a caterer overseeing Roverman's catering services, but she is also deeply involved in the group's distribution department. Florence has witnessed it all, including a day Ebo Whyte says he will never forget. September 26th, 1991, when he unexpectedly lost his job. To him, it began like any ordinary day, without any forewarning of what was to come. On that day, he was dismissed from his position as the head of marketing and sales at a leading company in its sector. According to Ebo Whyte, he was accused of diverting business from the company to a new venture he allegedly founded, despite his defense that he did not own any such business.
He came home one day, 26 September. Then the Agro Fellowship Kukumemle, which I belong to, we normally have our tea times at the end of the month. So on that Thursday, we had started preparing the small chops and things. So there were women in my house. And here was my husband coming with boxes. And I asked him, what is wrong? He said, I have been sacked. I kept quiet. But the ladies, Uncle Ebo, I mean, they are some. But I didn't show it. Then there was time for us to leave there because it was an official house. It wasn't easy, but we relocated. That's how we came here. I wasn't really troubling him because I think as a Christian, so I had hope that God will come through. It wasn't easy. One of the people I cannot forget when I talk about these things is my National Prayer Director, Honorable Gibsia Felindazi Esquire. She was one of the people who really helped us. She called me one day and said, our company is now coming up. And at Uncle Ebo's level, I don't think we can pay him. But talk to him. If he will just accept, so that he will not be in the house and will be coming to work. And Ebo he accepted it. So when he's going to work, no car, nothing, but he will fold his tar and then go and work and come. And after that, things started changing.
There are guiding principles that set Ebo Whyte's productions apart. For actors, it's about availing yourself for audition, regardless of one's past achievements or connections. Everyone must audition for a role. This approach ensures that every actor, whether a seasoned professional or a budding newcomer starts on an equal footing. The trained statistician and marketer by profession believes that auditions are not just a test of skill, but a crucial part of the creative process. They allow him to see the raw potential and unique qualities each individual brings to the stage. Through this principle, Ebo Whyte has discovered and nurtured countless talents, proving that when the playing field is level, excellence rises to the top.
It was a very short audition anyway. Roverman was on the panel, and I was asked if I'd ever acted before. And I said, well, I did something with a drama group in school, and they asked what role did I play. I said, I was a crying lady. In fact, I don't even remember the story of what I did in school, but I just remember I had to cry in a chief's palace or something, and I was asked to cry. And I cried, and they said, okay, you hear from us again. And that was it. Then by evening, I got a call that I was in.
Uncle Ebo came into my life at a point where I would call that period of my life lost and searching. I needed purpose. I needed something to hold on to, and I needed a form of nudge in the right direction. And when I joined the group, his words, his teachings, and even how he led the group and how he handled certain issues taught me a lot. And under his covering, I have learned, by the grace of God, I've learned a lot under his covering and under his leadership. I made all my mistakes under his leadership, and I also learned and matured as a man and as a person, as a performer under his leadership.
Another thing that I admire a lot about Uncle Ebo is his passion for excellence. And it's a challenge to all of us in the sense that he knows what the end goal is. Sometimes we don't see what the end goal is, but he pushes you to get there. He paints a picture. Over time, you get to see what that end goal is, and you're proud of yourself for being able to do it. But in the process, it is so tough. I remember when we were doing Women on Fire, and I'm sure people know this play. It was fantastic. It got hard. We couldn't remember some of our lines, and Uncle challenged us. If you make a mistake, you'll start again from scratch. So we went all the way, almost at the end, and there was a line that was forgotten. And we had to start all the way from the beginning. And there's something that he says, it's either you do it happy or you do it sad. But at the end of the day, you are going to do it. And in the moment, it doesn't feel good. But at the end, we do it and we are all happy. And it's something that has translated into my personal life, for example, and it keeps me going. When I have to do something, I know I do it happy or I do it sad, but at the end of the day, we get it done, and that's what's important.
Uncle Ebo Whyte's dedication to his craft extends far beyond the stage. It includes the entire experience of his audience, whom he affectionately calls his guests. Punctuality is a hallmark of his productions. Every performance starts precisely on time, a practice that has cultivated a loyal following, eager to secure their preferred seats. Guests often arrive at the auditorium a full 30 minutes before the scheduled start.
Auntie, your name CD, what does it mean? Oh, Cecilia Dapa.
The quality of Ebo Whyte's productions is unmatched. His unique ability to weave current trends into his narratives, coupled with the relatable themes he explores, leaves his guests captivated and craving more. This meticulous attention to detail ensures that each performance is not just a play, but an unforgettable experience that resonates deeply within his audience.
I think without Uncle Ebo, theatre would have died in Ghana, because at a time when a lot of people are afraid to put out productions, he continued with his quarterly productions, and he's been consistent. I mean, the 12 years I've been here, he's continuously done it, whether he's not worried about whether people are going to show up or not. And he's done it, and people have showed up. And for that alone, I mean, because he's continued to do that, I think it's giving people hope. And then people will say, but Uncle Ebo is doing it.
Uncle Ebo Whyte has been able to project originality in all his plays. I cannot count the number of plays that he's had that has been based on books, movies, or any other project. It has always been his original idea, developed, written by himself. Based on what he tells us, most of his plays are based on fiction, real life stories, experiences from other people and all. It is not easy for creatives like Uncle Ebo Whyte to actually develop stories from people's experiences, from ideas. And so what has really set him apart from the others is his ability to be original.
Ebo Whyte attributes everything to God, openly acknowledging that without God, there would be no Ebo Whyte. This God factor is a central theme in his life. Through God's guidance, protection, and help, he became a statistician and marketer by profession, though he eventually shifted to theater. However, he didn't abandon his expertise. He skillfully incorporates his knowledge into his theater work, which has been extremely beneficial to him.
Our various callings will find us, and mine found me. And when it finds you, it doesn't matter what your training has been. The interesting thing is that when it does find you, nothing is wasted. So even the courses you did that you may not be working with will still inform the way you do things. So, for instance, because I did statistics at the university, I am very keen on trends. What have been the trends of our shows? So, like this quarter, we'll compare this quarter with previous quarters and look at the numbers and and decide what is it telling us. What kind of plays would we go for, and that kind of thing. And that all comes from the statistics. The marketing, how to ensure that those who have come today will come again and again and again. That comes from marketing. That comes from some of the tools marketing gave me. So nothing is wasted. The accounting ensures that nobody chops my money.
As he always says, Ebo Whyte is a proud father to many talented, intelligent children. And he believes strongly that fatherhood transcends biology and DNA. For many individuals, Ebo Whyte is more than a renowned playwright and director. He is a father figure. Offering fatherly love and guidance, he has become the pillar on which they lean, the pillow of comfort, and the perfect confidant. These are the people he has either adopted or nurtured, provided counsel, financial support, and more, creating a significant positive change in their lives.
I remember when they killed Major Mahama.
Major Mahama.
I was so angry, and I can't say the emotions I felt then. But that dawn, he called me. Mommy called me and said, "Kofi, your father wants to speak with you," and it was
emotional.
It was emotional, and I think one of the few moments I cried was that day.
Yeah.
So all in all, I think he's been a father I never had, and he's had a profound impact on my life. And I just want to say God bless him.
When I left Charterhouse, it was at a very critical moment in my life. It was a difficult time for me. A few things did occur that I didn't expect, I didn't anticipate. I got a bit broken, a bit, I don't want to call it sad, but I found myself questioning the meaning of loyalty, the meaning of commitment. I found myself a number of things. Let me say I got a bit depressed with how a few things had panned out. I had a conversation with Uncle Ebo Whyte about it, and the words that he shared with me that day, those words have always lived with me, and those words have kept me going, and they keep me going every time. It wasn't just the words. After our encounter, the man gave me an envelope and said, "Don't open until you get home." I opened Uncle Ebo Whyte's envelope when I got home, and it was a check. And that check is part of all the contributions that we got to start Image Bureau. So had it not been for that check, there probably wouldn't have been an Image Bureau today.
I normally would tell him that when I count my blessing, he's right at the top. And he says, yeah, go on. You are biased. When I say, Daddy, you know, you are the best dad in the world. He said, yeah, continue, you are biased. And it's not because I'm biased. I've lived long enough to be able to tell who is genuinely a good person, who is trying, and who is faking. And he's an amazing person.
I think I'm blessed to be able to call him not just uncle, but father. When a favorite uncle becomes a father, it's a special bond. And I've enjoyed over two decades of his love, support, attention, prayers for me through my formative years, my education, and he's been there for me through my marriage, professional life, and all. Today I share the special joy of having him also as my patient because I'm a doctor.
James Ebo Whyte is an institution. I mean, as a father, as a CEO, as a mentor, I'll say today I understand the creative business because some things he personally taught me made me understand what goes into production. I got to understand how a play is ready. I got to understand the need of a customer. So I keep telling people that when it comes to sponsorship in Ghana, nobody has raised sponsorship in the creative space more than me, because he was able to let me appreciate what I'm selling and why it's important for the clients to use my products to reward his customers. I'm quick-tempered. My relationships with people were short-circuit. I had issues. But he was able to help me understand that you are not the ordinary person. You need to understand who you are to appreciate the people around.
I'm a taxi driver or Brasport. I'm retired fan. I'm teaching work. My wife also teaching work. I'm retired in the buffet. Those days, you know, I can't hold it. Dinner or bar. Na book my phone. I say, oh, Mama Trana, Unipano, or the mamma no, you do almost 1 year. Where another club. Until one day now, with Mama took away. Until you buy and was my mobile. To buy a being a papa. That baby don't know. See, this is the Kusi I've been talking of. This is the driver. He always pick me. A honor started the uncle. Na mi unu na mitezi no so na isheda nti apostle. Nti e wumuna em se be break it down. Nti biji obika na me de maba. Nti one day obisa am se me car na den ha. That was when he was at Renko. Na eno o invite me se me mra. Very lucky for me no me kudu ye no. Na papa no ma me check. Obisa am se den ha me car na me se me engine. And no, mama, check. Say,
when I went for my vet, and I called a number of people to accompany me. Most rejected. Uncle Ebo was there for me. And some of them rejected because they didn't want affiliation with politics. But he didn't look at the political side. He looked at the relationship he had with me. And sacrificed whatever, and went with me. And some of the parliamentarians didn't know he was behind me, because at the time we used to wear masks because of COVID. Yeah. And so when I mentioned that Uncle Ebo is right behind me, because the question was on theater, and I said Uncle Ebo is right behind me, it changed the whole mood. Oh, is Uncle Ebo here? Where is he? Oh, how come can't make him out? Some of them wanted to connect and network and all of that. So he's a great man by all standards.
These acts of kindness and desire to nurture people have not gone only to outsiders, as his family has also benefited. At age 14, Ebo Whyte lost his father, making him question God in the midst of his sorrow. As he maneuvered the intricacies of life and found his feet, his siblings became his responsibility.
Ebo dear, Sabi, ya papa wu temper. Yeah, papa no a lawyer, who temper, but maybe what school at Tama, secondary school. A bonnet share me, mammy, they call Susek, 6 form. Answer. Be more banker, the bar banking. ebo na ahwe me a me in particular me papa we na mo 5 years me nkai but only say me hu a picture because me papa ni but ebo na take me all out no ebo na take me bia very good ebo very good very good very good.
The testimonials about Ebo Whyte's benevolence are numerous. He attributes his acts of kindness to the generosity he received from others during his times of trouble. According to him, many people came to his aid with generous gestures when he needed help the most. For instance, during his secondary school education in Accra, he survived the Accra Stay-By Plan, selling bread, kerosene, chewing gum, and more. Financial difficulties caused him to miss writing his common entrance exams multiple times. However, the benevolence of Ms. Komi, one of his teachers who noticed the potential in him, turned things around. She couldn't understand why a school prefect with such fine brains would miss the exams that would take him to the next phase of his life.
So I am the product of the goodness and the generosity of many people. I'm just paying it forward. People who had no business to be good to me have been good to me. People who have no business to open doors for me have opened doors for me. Some of them, they didn't even know me. You know, and so having been a beneficiary of the goodness of so many people, it comes natural to me to also give, because I know how much I have received. I know how much I have been given.
Despite his father's battles with alcoholism, Ebo Whyte has many fond memories of him and of his mother.
My father, the fact that he was, I was his favorite child. So I remember that. I also remember him as a bushman who still had the respect of the community. You know, normally, in any community, the bushman has no respect. My father was alcoholic. And yet, the way he carried himself when he was sober made the community respect him so much that they were able to sympathize with him when he was under the influence of alcohol. So he never became he was never mocked by the community. And we, his children, were never mocked because of the dignity with which he carried himself. Because no matter how much he drank at night, the next morning he would go to work, dressed impeccably. He was with the judicial service, and he never missed a day's work. You know, how he did that, I don't know, but so that is with my father. With my mom, her resourcefulness and her spirit of entrepreneurship. Because my father died when the first of their children, was 14. He left 5 boys. My mother raised us all. You know, so her hard work, her resourcefulness, her firmness, I remember those.
Though he is widely known as a playwright, Ebo Whyte has authored many books, including The Deal, The Case of the Professional Lady, The Perfect Couple, The Case of the Happily Married, and Let's Talk About Sex. These publications offer invaluable insights into relationships, providing readers with practical advice and wisdom. Not only is Ebo Whyte an author and a playwright, he is also a preacher, impacting lives and winning souls through the pulpit.
But there's a reason why we don't get to choose our fathers, because the real father is God himself. It's not that man you call father.
Regardless of his accomplishments, Ebo Whyte is described as a down-to-earth man. Those who have encountered him, including pastors and judges, share varied positive narratives about his personality, often becoming like family after meeting him.
Uncle Ebo has been part of our journey, Comfort and I, for about 3 decades now. We've traversed different experiences, and he's been a mentor, a shoulder to lean on, and that confidant that you go to in those critical moments of your life. And somehow, some way, he's always been there. We've traveled with him across the country, speaking to different classes of young people on our Springboard Roadshow. He was the very first person who shepherded our first publication, 10 Commandments of Success, in 2004. That went on to become one of our landmark productions.
There's a part of him that everyone sees and that we all enjoy. Uncle Ebo, he's a philosopher and a thinker in his own right. What most people don't know, and I get to know because when you know a man's wife, you get to know things about him, is that when all of us normal people are sleeping, sometimes Uncle Ebo doesn't sleep. There's this part of him that is very abnormal. He will wake up, he will walk out in the middle of nowhere alone just to think, process, and reflect. I guess those are the moments of his philosophical and intellectual encounters out of which he produces these scenes that we all look at and you are just wondering, how did he come to this? Or that he comes on radio and says something simple but deep in terms of its implication for life, for the moral lessons that he teaches, and the inspiration that he delivers, and just turns the simple things of life. He oversimplifies them at the same time, reflecting a certain complexity.
Around 2005, I came to the office. I was a journalist, and then my boss said, "Akosua, I have this book that I want you to read," and it was Roverman's monthly. I think that time it was Roverman's reports, so you can read. I said, okay. So I took the book and I started reading. I said, this is lovely. And at that time I was preparing to enter into the institution of marriage. So I was dating a guy, but I didn't know much about relationship. So when I started reading, I realized that there were some red flags that the book was explaining. And I said, wow, then this is serious. Because unbeknownst to me, I was getting myself into a big trouble because I thought love was enough. I felt strongly about that person, so it was enough. But through that Roverman reports, then I realized that I need to ask questions. I need to ask myself questions. I need to find out more. I need to dig deeper.
Almost all his plays are quite unique. It tells a story about family. I recalled in one of his plays, I think Confused Husband or so, Married, I've forgotten the title. We're in the theater together with my wife, and you know when part of the play goes against the husband, and my wife was all like, listen, when we live close today, I want to speak you to go and see Uncle Ebo, he will advise you. The next moment, it was a 10. And that was the beauty of it. I mean, it's always a 360 thing, and I think these are the kind of stories telling we want to build up a society where we can have generations that will be, well brought up.
Uncle Ebo has always been an inspiration for much younger people because he is he has very strong Christian values, very strong moral values, and he's always been a warm person, but very strict, very disciplined. And with him, you know where you stand. With Uncle Ebo, there are no gray areas. It's either black or white. But he's a wonderful person. And I'm sure there are so many people who will attest to the fact that he's been an inspirational character, both as a father, as an uncle, as a big brother, as a playwright, as somebody who operates in the public space, from television to radio. And for a lot of people, they really know him because of his stage plays. But for some of us who encountered him much earlier, he has always been that pillar that you look up to and say, even if I cannot be like him, I aspire to, be close to what he is.
What I find, or we find, very fascinating about him is that he doesn't stop. He keeps going and going and going and going. And when you wonder what is coming next, then something big happens. And for me, his ability to pull and sustain interest in what he does, that he's done it over the years, that he's been doing it is very fascinating.
So, with all these remarks and his volumes of accomplishments, how does Ebo Whyte want to be remembered? How does he want his legacy to be protected?
I've never been bothered about legacy. I've never been bothered about legacy because I think anyone who goes out of his way to try to create a legacy will fail. The important thing is do what you are doing to the best of your ability today. And posterity will decide whether you left a legacy or not. Whatever you think you are leaving behind it's like, have you seen African dictators who put up monuments to themselves? When they died or when they were overthrown, what did we do? We broke it all down. So it is not up to you to decide what your legacy will be. But if you were faithful to whatever you thought your calling was, or whatever opportunities came your way, if you were committed to it and did the best you can, then you would, the future posterity looking at your impact would then decide that yes, he left us a legacy of this thing. So for now, let me just enjoy what I'm doing. I'm just happy that I turned 70 this month. So for a 70-year-old man to be doing this, I mean, that is huge for me. I don't know about any other, but that is very huge for me.
As Ebo Whyte clocks 70, it is the wish of these individuals and many others that he remains in the presence of God in good health, rich knowledge, immense wisdom, exceptional impact, great affluence, and greater peace of mind.
On this day of your 70th birthday, I want to thank God for how far He's brought you, the strength He's giving to you, and I pray for more strength. I remember one of the days I went to visit him with the late Cratchy Dente. The man was still old, but was still planning so many things. And when we came, I said, this man, Ebo, at this stage, where is he doing? I said, it can be. So I pray that God will give us more years together to see all the things He has promised for us. And also wants to say that I thank God for giving him to me. I love him. If I have to do it every day and over again, I still want to let him know. I've always been telling him, I'll zoom in and find him wherever he is. Love you, Ebo. Continue to love you. Kobe, be a good voice more.
For a man who has been largely successful despite the adversities he has encountered, and who has produced over 55 successful plays in 16 years, which have not only entertained, but also impacted lives. For a man who has many employees driving the Roverman agenda. For a man who has extended acts of benevolence to many. Who has hosted Food for Thought for over 2 decades. Who has nurtured talents to become great personalities. Who has authored books to shape lives and marriages. Who is a preacher and motivational speaker. Who opens his doors to all and offers counseling. Who continues to serve as an inspiration to many, and whose faith in God remains unshaken, unbowed, and resolute. A celebration is in order. James Ebo Whyte, Uncle Ebo Whyte. Ayiko.